Good morning, everyone. This is Michael P. Good morning, everyone. This is Michael P. We're here for a special edition of On the Juice. I want to introduce my co-host, Matt. Matt.
Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon now, depending on where you are.
And we have a special guest today, a very, very, very special guest today. Please give a warm welcome to Jacob Mundell. And you may know him as Eric.
Boop, boop, boop. Thank you for having me. Hi, everybody. That intro, your intro song is really dope. That was like I was bouncing in my seat. I love your intro graphics and song.
Professional AF.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't hurt. So everyone, so let's just get started with Jacob. We don't want to, he's a very busy person, and we're just super, super happy to have him here. So. Why don't you just spend a little time telling us about yourself, how you got into acting, where it all started, before we actually start talking about your time on The Expanse.
So I don't know, maybe this is a little cliche, but like I legit come from like small town America. And when people say they come from small town America, I like to roll up my sleeves and say, all right, let's have a small town off, because my family's cattle ranch, the Mundell Ranch, is it's an agricultural community in Baca County, Colorado, and I guess the town that centers the community is called Walsh, Walsh, and it's a town of like 500 to 600 people. It's real small town, U.S. and my parents, every once in a generation, somebody like renovates this town and like, provides a public service. And my parents took this old World War II Quonset hut, one of those semicircular tin sheds, and they renovated it into a theater, and they put on like shows for the community, for this cattle ranching town. And for years until they moved on to the next thing. But I just remember, like, some of my earliest memories are of my dad's a community actor, community theater actor, and he I just have memories of my dad being this expressive guy doing silly small little plays, skits. There's this one, I guess the earliest one is my dad. He was like this crazy dentist. It was just some skit about like a dentist and a patient, and the patient was scared of the tools, and the dentist they were pleading with each other to just get through it. Anyway, so I just kind of absorbed it. I feel like the way most people claim. I had it in the household growing up, and then I decided to try it and and then I went to college in Savannah, Georgia, Savannah College of Art and Design. And then since then, really took a stab at trying to be a professional at this. I worked Shakespeare most of my career right out of college. Lots of Shakespeare festivals, touring Shakespeare festivals. And then I moved on to other things. The classics I'll always honor the classics, but I wanted to try other things. I did a Renaissance fair, which was fun. Shout out Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair. There's a huge commune of ex-Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair performers who live in Chicago now, and we kind of support each other and go to each other's stuff.
I grew up going to that one.
Yeah?
I'm from Lancaster, PA, so yeah.
Lancaster, that's like the Shire is supported by Lancaster, essentially.
Yeah, we used to go there like junior high trips to the Renaissance Fair.
And the turkey legs are so salty.
Oh my
God.
Salty.
So much salt, and the wine is just sweeter than a lollipop, right?
It's not good wine.
Legally,
wine.
Like I'll always treasure. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I was just going to say, this is such a small world. I mean, the fact that you guys went to the same Renaissance fair. I mean, think about it, because you grew up in a small town in Colorado, and then all of a sudden, he's out on the East Coast now, and then somehow you have this thing in common, besides, of course, the greatest science fiction show of the century, but beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole world of live theater. I think live performance is actually smaller than a lot of people give it credit for. The people who like to go to live performance, whether that's stand up or sketch comedy or improv or the really interesting talent shows that show up at Renaissance fairs or Shakespeare festivals. You start meeting people more often than you like, because the dominant form of entertainment is obviously film and TV. But for people who still love the live craft, you start crossing paths more often than you realize.
That's really cool, though.
But you know what I love about live theater, because I when I was a told not secretary here. Okay, just real quick, not
Go
told
for
not
it.
secretary. When I was freshman in college, we were invited up to sing with the San Francisco Symphony. Okay, they were doing this huge work called Schoenberg Gurulita. And so they needed a giant chorus. And so we were invited up to sing with them. And it was one of the most incredible experiences in my entire life. I remember this to this day. But enough about me. Let's get back to Jacob. Jacob, could you just walk us through the whole process of being chosen for the role of Eric, the crime boss?
Yeah, I wish I had a super cool story, like, Harrison Ford style. Like I was a janitor and then I got to read for an audition and then I got it. It was a pretty standard boilerplate process. I'm an actor in Chicago. I have an agent, shout out Great Talent Group. And they are these, having reps makes all the difference. They are these hardworking office people who aggressively submit their talent to things all day, every day for a 9 to 5. And Breck Eisner told me later that they were ready to cast Eric with like a guaranteed talent, like someone who is like guaranteed going to knock it out of the park, but they could have two hands, and they were going to green screen glove, super high tech graphics it. But it was important for them to try, and they put money into doing a national talent search, and they went to agents in not just LA and New York, which is what usually happens, but they went to, maybe they searched in Toronto, but they, and they also went to Chicago. And so my agent got the breakdown, submitted me. They accepted a video from me. I think I had 2 days to get ready for it. I memorized that first scene, the first scene you see Eric in that office with Amos and or Timmy, and memorized it. I cleared my table. Whenever you get an audition, you just clear the schedule and you just drill down on memorizing the lines. I hired my coach for a couple hours, and we, explored it, dug into it, asked ourselves what's going on, and then I submitted a tape. 2 days.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but did you know about the churn had you had a chance to read the churn before you actually had that first scene with Wes?
No. So I had watched The Expanse, but I wasn't exposed to any of the literature before auditioning. And after I did my callback and got the part, the production, Alcon Studios, sent me a PDF of the churn. And I was flying to Toronto in like 2 days, and I'm a little bit of a slow reader. I didn't have time to read it, but I listened to the audiobook of The Churn, Auberon, Book 5, and they gave me early access to season 4. So I had seen the whole show. I listened to Book 5, and I listened to The Churn and Auberon before I went on set for the first day.
Wow. So now, walk us through the whole filming. You talked about the first scene, but because you had some great scenes, and some of us have some great photographs. Hold on a second.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that shot. It's a good shot.
It's a great action shot. So could you just walk us through all the scenes and because it was in the middle of winter in friggin' Canada. Mm-hmm. Oh my God! I mean, that's cold even by Chicago standards.
I mean, yeah, Toronto, as much as Chicago kind of has this ego about, likes to brag about its winters, Toronto's got its beat. It's just a little bit farther north, and it's also on the lakes. It's real, but the the scenes are. I felt like bad luck just hit me for episode 2 and episode 7 because I got sick both times. I was on the plane flying out to Toronto and I could just feel it coming. I don't know. I might have had COVID or something before we really understood what was happening. But I was in between all of the shots in episode 2. I'm downing these glasses of like ginger and honey water, that like hot ginger honey tea that the craft service guy was just making for me, because I was like, hey, I'm so sorry, I got here and my voice is just like, it's gone. And he was like, okay, I can make you a lot of hot liquid and that's the best I got. And I'm like, keep it coming. So I was chugging hot honey ginger tea in between takes. And just trying to give Eric this like little kind of quiet, subdued, like, quiet, subdued voice, because then you wouldn't have to see me trying to use, have much volume, because I didn't have it at the time. But The Expanse is famous for, like, they do Sunday rehearsals. So I was there for a Sunday rehearsal, and it was the first time Breck, Wes, and I were in a room together, and they were just like, let's do some improv. Let's forget the lines. Let's improvise this scene. We did it a couple different ways. I think both of them knew they were dealing with someone who has relatively little experience on a set and on camera. And I think they were honestly, they didn't say this, but I think they were like feeling me out to see how to support me and how to like empower my choices and how to make me feel welcome and how to, help me loosen up. And that was the mentality the entire time I was there. It was just like, how can we all support each other best? It was a great first job. You hear about some sets being anxiety-ridden, toxic places, and maybe I'll be more prepared for one of those if I ever get back on a TV set. But it was a fantastic first job to have, because it was super nurturing and gave me all the opportunity to.
Yeah, interesting. That's something I read from a few different people, that set was very much, not to use the term, but like family. Very supportive. There was no toxicity. There was no backstabbing. From what I understand, it was just a great set to work on.
And I just happened to be in the season where all of the main characters split up. So I was never on set with Dominique Tipper or Steven Strait or any of them. Like, literally most of my days were with Breck, Wes, Nadine, and Amanda Cordner, who plays Hutch. I want to reinforce what you just said. It was a huge family. It was, all of the crew, they were super nice people. I never met the rest of the cast, and I kind of wish I had. But I saw Dominique at the casting at the rap party. But that was about
it. My understanding is that Breck is their favorite director too. So you got to work with the best. But you worked, was he the only director you worked with, or did you work with other directors?
I worked with one other director on episode 7 on that rooftop, and shame on me, I'm blanking on the name right now, but I had coffee with her before the day. Then I went up there, and it was like, and she was famous. We got to look this up, because it would be a crime to not acknowledge her. But
was it Anya?
Yeah.
Was it Anya? Yeah, mm-hmm. Anya Adams. Okay.
Who was Chicagoan. And she was famous for, like, she always comes in under budget, under time. She always gets the shots on time. And I mean, Breck, he's great. He's fantastic. He gets the good shots, but sometimes we stay over time for several hours. And and that's kind of something he's known for. But it's always worth it. But Anya, for episode 7, I got a taste of the other way to work, which is like, do your best, but whatever you do, that's the take, because we're moving on. And she was nice. She was super nice. She just had no problem. Like, all right, we'll compensate for that in post, but we got to move on. And I think that's just one of the things she's known for, is like not wasting studio money, getting the stuff in the can, and doing the best work possible.
So you said at one point you guys were doing a little bit of improv there. Did any of that make it into the final, or was it just the scripted as scripted?
No, I don't think any improv made it in that I'm aware of. Nothing I did. If anything, scenes were cut. Like I was in a couple scenes that didn't make it into the final cut. And I don't know if that's just because the coverage wasn't good enough, or if they just had to cut for time. Or maybe my acting was so bad, they were like, we can't put this in front of people. But no, I don't know how much improv makes it on that show. There was a line, okay, on the rooftop when Wes says, I saw some of that whiskey, maybe we should take some of that. Mm-hmm. That was written in, then it was cut, and then Wes liked it so much he just started saying it on set, and so it made its way back in because Wes liked it so much. It wasn't improv technically, but he did get it in.
One of those things that he knew Amos would say.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Episode 9, when we're marching up on the village people in the driveway, and they're like, "We need food," and I'm like, "Get lost." And then Nadine lets them come on the ship with us, and Eric kind of acts sort of pissy in the background. He's like, "What are we doing?" And then Wes says, "All right, you can come on the ship," and then he walks down the driveway past me, and I give him this look like, you're messing this up for us. And then Wes would go, shut up. And I think you can hear it a little bit. That was improvised. That wasn't
nice
in the set.
Yeah, something I wanted to ask you. You have a little bit of a background in improv, right?
Yeah, I've gone through the training at Second City and IO. I've not been on a professional team. I was going in that direction before anti-Rona hit the scene.
Yeah, that kind of killed everything.
Yeah, I was like starting to get some stand-up sets together, and I was getting some momentum in improv. And if I was gonna get back into that, I'd have to just jump back in and practice with some. I've got people in Chicago who would have me on their team. But like before I'm out of practice. Like COVID messed everything up. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a great, even if you don't plan to professionally do improv, like it's a great wheel to have on your cart that just kind of supports the rest of your creative endeavors.
I'm a big fan. I did in DC, we have Washington Improv Theater. So I did like the first level just because I was horrible at public speaking. I wanted something to help push that. And I ended up doing like all 5 levels and then Harold. I loved it. It was a lot of fun. And I'm not good at it, but it was a lot of fun.
But I think the greatest thing that improv has to offer anyone is if you have nerves or anxiety about doing something correct, like, am I doing this the right way? Am I talking about the right thing? The biggest muscle that improv gives you in anything, in a conversation, on a date, is like not trying to control something to make it go the right way, but just like
going with it,
like seeing what happens, and you're like, oh, this is what we're talking about, or that just happened, and not shutting down, judging yourself, judging the other people, creating negativity, but being like, all right, we're going in this direction now. Let's embrace it. See what happens.
Exactly.
Well, Jacob, earlier you talked about, that Alcon had sent you PDFs of The Turn and Auberon. Now, did you get a chance to read Auberon?
I listened to all of Auberon. They didn't send me Auberon, but I knew that this show had all these books out. And so I was like, I need to find every bit of canon on this character possible. And I found Auberon on like Eric's Wikipedia page or something. It just mentioned he appeared in this novella. So I listened to that, and plausible deniability, it's not Eric, because they never address him by name. He's just a gangster with one hand, with a robot hand, and who is really, really smart and runs a planet. So, that could be anybody, but
that could be anybody, especially considering the fact that Ty and Daniel have always publicly talked about the fact that Alcon still owns the IP to all the Expanse stuff and the novels too, novellas. So one could see one would hope somewhere in the future there might be a mini series called Auberon about how a certain person that we don't know became a crime boss of an entire planet.
Yeah.
Please speculate.
I mean, there's a lot of novellas, and obviously I have the one that I would pick to be put on screen. Okay, how do I answer that question? Like, would it be cool? Yeah. Oh yeah, we could go down the nerd hole and think about all the cool stuff that could be going on. Like, what would they do for the robot hand? What would they do for this? What would they do for that? Do I need to age up 20 years, or would they just recast, someone else? And then it's like, but also there's a lot of novellas. I haven't read them. Are the other novellas better than Auberon? Are they just as good, or is Auberon one of the better novellas? Because I feel like Auberon has competition for getting on the getting made list.
Well, but one of them, Strange Dogs, they incorporated Strange Dogs into season 6, and Strange Dogs was actually written after season 6, and so Auberon is the most recent novella. There's one more coming out in March. That'll be the last one. It's supposed to tie everything up. So Auberon is. I would venture to say that between the Churn and Auberon, they are the two most comprehensive ones. Okay, and one of our favorite characters, I won't mention any names, Eric, is really in both of them. So just saying, just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I mean, because of the time leap in the canon, it does leave a lot up to question, like what happened to that character? What happened to that character? And it is kind of it is really cool that of all the supporting roles in this universe, they liked him, or they like Ty and Dan saw something worth continuing in Eric, and he got to have his afterlife in the time jump expressed. So there is something valuable there, which means, Auberon is really useful to the canon because it gives you a lot of insight into Laconian culture, and what people who just commit themselves to a really domineering culture, the anxiety that they face, the anxiety, the guilt, the internalized self-hatred they go through. Like, I think that's to me, besides the coolness of Eric coming back, like the impracticality of a lot of Laconian culture is like the primary feature of Auberon to me. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Well, there's an ongoing discussion about. In fact, we're thinking about doing one of our broadcasts to discuss the villains of the Expanse, and this whole thing. The idea of how it was set up. There's a theory of thought that Heinlein, Robert Heinlein, one of the great science fiction authors of the previous century, talked about, is that the best form of government is a benevolent dictatorship, right? So that seems like, let's face it, that's your blatant oxymoron, right? So and that's kind of what Laconia is. It's in theory, the theory is it's a benevolent dictatorship. Well, we know how theory works.
Yeah, I think I get that. Like, if you just so happen to get a good king who is competent and takes care of the citizens, good job. You won the lottery. Good job. Like there's like technically, sure, I can see how if you had an ace monarch who cared about the people, awesome. That those citizens might potentially be the most well taken care of citizens in the world, but only for one generation. When that king goes, it's back to the luck of the draw. Does his messed up trust fund baby kid get the crown? Or is it like a Star Wars Naboo situation where you elect a new king? Like, I guess, yes, that could be the best type of government, but only until that king dies. You got to have an immortal benevolent. You got to have an immortal benevolent dictatorship. So maybe a computer. Maybe the best government is a nice computer.
Well, but that was the whole, in the later books. And by the way, spoiler alert here, folks. Spoiler alert. That's part of that. Duarte recognized that. Major spoiler, talking about the books here. But Duarte recognized that fact, about the whole, the person coming after him may not be a benevolent dictator. So Duarte solved that by deciding to make himself immortal. And of course, immortality raises a whole bunch of other issues. Okay, it just
right.
There's no easy solution to this thing.
I'm trying to make myself immortal because I'm such a good guy that I need to be around to rule the galaxy forever.
Right. I'm doing this for you.
Yeah.
It's not that I want to be immortal.
I'm not trying to be immortal because I'm a bad, crazy guy. I'm trying to be immortal because I know no one will be better than me ever.
Right. And you're welcome.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was a major spoiler for you too, Matt, wasn't it?
Because I haven't read book 7 yet. So,
Oh, okay.
I made it up to book 6 just for the, then the show got there. Waiting till I finish so I can read book 7, 8, and 9. We're not there yet.
Well,
thanks, Michael.
I told you. Did I not say spoiler alert?
No.
You could have just you could have done that, but
just leave the podcast
on his own show.
Yeah, I'm out.
Of course. But all right. But Jacob, just real quick, what are you working on now? Because I know we had a chance to chat when I was in Chicago. And I'm going to put you on the spot here. I was told not to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Hopefully, I should be in Chicago. I'm hoping to be in Chicago later on for C2E2 again. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of hoping we can try to do an Expanse meetup or something, a real one.
That'd be great. Yeah, I'm all about that. I mean, the Expanse geeks who gave me this fantastic mug, based in New York. I was blown away by the fan-driven events at New York Comic-Con. Like it's almost like outside of the official Comic-Con, the Expanse fans of New York had their own, mini Comic-Con, and we had we had an actor from the show, and we had like merch, and we had stuff, and we had like podcasters there. So it was supplemental stuff, and I live for stuff like that. Like for shows I'm not on, for my own favorite shows and sci-fis and stuff, like I live for swag, for stuff, like fun things from the show, about the show, and to like do fan events. Yeah, I'm all about that kind of stuff. That's my, like a comic book store. I could kill hours in a comic book store. So next C2E2, let's get the, we tried a little bit, but we kind of failed. Let's get the nerds together for next C2E2.
Well, I think this one's gonna be a little bit bigger. I'm hoping, because hopefully the world will get closer to being normal again. And so, Matt, we got to get you. If you can't show up there, Matt, what we'll do is we'll try to set up a little podcast, and so that you can join us if you can't join us physically.
Oh, I'd love that.
So I think that would be great if we could actually do a podcast from there. I know we're planning ahead here, folks, and I know I'm I'm trying not to commit you, Jacob, because I know you're super busy. Okay, I know you're super busy, but I just want you to put it on your radar, if you would, please. Just just put it aside there. So.
Is C2E2 2022 slated yet? Like,
Yes,
yeah.
August.
August.
Yeah.
Okay.
August. All right. I'll send you some more information, okay? So that if you can make it, it'll be great. And I apologize for putting you on the spot, but I have a chance to ask you. So
if it was something I didn't want to do, I would have said no.
Yeah. But,
so speaking of you being really busy, when do we get to see you on stage again? Are you doing any stand-up anytime soon?
I like to listen to my favorite actors, like real celebrities, on my favorite podcasts and stuff, who always talk about, like, the whole reason they go on the podcast is because they have new work and they're like plugging their new movie, book, show, whatever. It's guys, the life of a blue collar
literally
working class actor is, it's like this. You get opportunities and then it valleys for a while. I'm out here. I'm working on it. I got an agent and a manager, and they're sending me auditions, and I do every one of them. But go ahead.
But Jacob, can I stop you for just a second? Why don't you talk about that theater that you're working? There's that one theater, that the one nonprofit theater that you have in Chicago.
Right. So so I still have a lot of roots in stage. Like, I love live theater. I'm trying to do live theater all the time, and I run. Me and three of my besties run a non-for-profit 501c3 theater company in Chicago. And we're gearing up to produce our next show. Before the Rona, we had a space rented. We had actors in rehearsals. We were producing this awesome show called Krugazor, about the underground movement of American music in the Soviet Union. And it got sidelined by COVID, and it's been 2 years, and we're just now starting the process of rebooting production again. It's coming late 2022, maybe early 2023. I'll put out signs when it's coming. And then after that, we're going to do a one-man, or not a one-man show, a 1 to 3 person show written by me about the life of Edgar Allan Poe and his wrestling with mental illness, and sharing some of his awesome heightened metered poetry, as a live performance medium, which is a lot of fun for me as an ex-Shakespeare actor. So those are in the tubes. theaterrevolve.com, TheatreEvolve, theaterrevolve.com. Check us out. And besides that, because getting work is so hard, asking permission to work as an actor is kind of depressing. So I also do the types of art where I don't need permission, and that is stand-up. I can go to an open mic whenever I want, 2 to 3 times a week, practice some jokes. I get 4 to 5 minutes in front of that mic, and I can say whatever I want, and then when it's over, I got to get down. But I've been making comedy videos. I've been filming some of my sets. I throw them up on Instagram when I get ones I feel like are shareable. I'd love to do a comedy show. Like, I'm trying to put together a 20-minute set. So I'm going to harness my Expanse fans to power my comedy career. If you guys want me to come to your town and do a 20-minute comedy set, help me get a bar, and I'll I'll fly out and I'll do 20 minutes of comedy at some bar that you can convince to have me.
We've got the DC Improv in DC.
Nice.
They do live sets there, comedy sets, improv sets, everything. So probably get you there.
I'll when I feel like I just need a little more promotional videos. I've never been paid to do stand up, so I'm waiting to do. I'm trying to get that under my belt, and then I'll start trying to advertise myself as a workable comic with a set that can go up.
How about, Jacob? How about a couple of really short vignettes on TikTok? and make sure you have your cat in there too. And I don't know, tell the jokes to the cat and just let the cat react. I think that'll be perfect. Oh my God, I'm already laughing about that already because I love your cats. I love your cats.
Because the cats would just stare back at me and I'd say, "Woof, tough crowd."
They really are, but they'll just look at you and just like, well, and then that's about it. They're wonderful.
I should do TikTok, shouldn't I? Oh, it's another thing. No. I've got Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I mostly just post on Twitter. Facebook has turned into this wasteland of nonsense, but I still have it. Instagram's kind of going strong, but like, I don't know, TikTok, I got to get another app. Like I got to get another thing to wait, where'd it go?
More notifications.
More mediums to not get paid to produce content.
Join the club.
I haven't gotten on TikTok. I feel like that's the kids thing or something. I feel old now. Is what I'm saying.
I love Reels though. I think Reels was the answer. It's Facebook's competition with TikTok, and I could kill a half hour just watching Reels. It's impressive how you can get sucked into that, tunnel of nonsense.
Well, it's like even Instagram. I have one, but I work at an animal shelter, so it's just kind of animals I'm trying to get adopted. That's my entire Instagram feed. So.
But that's a cause. That's a worthy cause, and I thank you. I thank you for using your platform for something productive, because the stuff I watch is like just trends. The guy who opens up a rotating fan, and then he ties a long strip of toilet paper to the fan and then turns it on, and then it spins around and it makes the toilet paper do like a tornado, and then you watch, and then a trend is when that gets made and it has a lot of hits. So another guy does the same thing, and then you watch him break open a fan and tape on some toilet paper and then make a toilet paper tornado. And then you watch another guy, and then you're like, I just watched 5 people make toilet paper tornadoes. And now I want to make a toilet paper tornado.
Oh, it is funny.
Oh my God. Well, but Jacob, I want to thank you for joining us today. I had a great time. I assume, Matt, you had a great time.
I did. Thank you for taking the time to come on our show here.
Love it. Come to Chicago. Let's get coffee or tequila.
Yeah, definitely. Let's hope in the future, all the forces align. Maybe we can meet at C2E2 in Chicago, do a broadcast from there, meet up with all the great Expanse fans. Mm-hmm. And I did promise Jacob I would bring some Lagavulin. And for the hardcore Expanse fans, you remember from season 1, Avasrala sitting at the bar with Admiral Souther, and she ordered him a Lagavulin, which is not the correct pronunciation, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, so I'm hoping a whole bunch of Expanse fans will join us, and we can sit there and just have some Lagavulin and discuss the Expanse. So this is Michael Pea. I can be found at Michael Pea on Twitter and all the Facebook Expanse groups. Jacob, where can we find you?
So my Facebook page is Jacob Mundell Actor. My Instagram is Jacob.Mundell, and my Twitter is at Jacob D. Mundell. I didn't have the wherewithal to realize I should get the same handle on all 3 of them. So there it is. Facebook is Jacob Mundell Actor. Twitter is Jacob D. Mundell, and Instagram is Jacob.Mundell. It's mostly cat videos right now, but I'm working on some more comedy videos, and as soon as I get another job, you guys will be the first to know. So thanks for tuning in on me, babies.
Excellent.
And Matt, where can we find you?
Well, I'm on Facebook somewhat. I'm mostly on Twitter. My Twitter handle is still Big Matty Nasty. I've had that for like 10 years. I'm not changing it now. I'm just embarrassed.
Never do.
But that's where you can find me.
And of course, we can be found here on Movers and Shakers Unlimited. And of course, other genre content can be found on Movers and Shakers Unlimited as well. And I'm hoping that the 3 of us can get together later on this year. I'm really, really looking forward to that. And if not, maybe even New York, because New York's in October, and hopefully by then, please, make the prayer to the sci-fi gods, if you will, that we go back to normality.
Yeah,
that,
Rona willing,
the world returns to normal.
We'll be on the Zeta variant by then. It'll be super tame.
Maybe. Oh, you know what? Maybe that's the one that'll turn us into superheroes and that will mutate us into. I was going to say something about the books, and I stopped myself. But maybe it will mutate us and turn us into super aliens or something. Who knows?
There's a joke there. There's a joke there where the next vaccine is the protomolecule, but I'm going to leave that one alone.
Oh, wait, God willing. Wait, real quick. I'm sorry to hijack your time. If everyone had one superpower, real quick, like I love to think about stuff like this. If I could have a superpower and you have to give it like a weakness, I would want to, my body is regular, but I have the power to headbutt with the strength of a Superman punch. Just headbutting. I punch regular, but my headbutts have the strength of a Superman punch. That would be my superpower if I could have one. Anybody else?
Pretty good.
My superpower would be teleportation.
Yeah.
The only limitation would be is that I wouldn't always know exactly where I was going to wind up. Most of the times, like 99% of the time, I could get it right, but that 1%, I have to be very, very careful. So teleportation.
Okay. Matt,
see, I would go with the power, Professor Xavier's powers, because you can pretty much take over anyone else. So if you've got headbutt power and I wanted it, I could take you over for an hour.
And when you get old and you have dementia, you might accidentally kill a city
or the entire planet. Whatever. Yeah. I'm going to go with that one.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you very much, Jacob, again for joining us. And I'm going to wish everyone a good day and everyone have a good time. And hopefully we'll see each other sometime in the future at one of the great cons, and maybe even San Diego, the greatest of all cons.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yes. All right. Adios.
Take care, folks.